The next story we are going to be reading is called A Mouse in the House. So we can see this is a story about a little boy who has a mouse in a cage, okay? Now, the question is compare texts. Read to find out about a pet mouse. Before, we read a story about a mouse who had friends, right? This little guy right here. So this was a fiction story, and now we are going to read a non-fiction story, okay? So let's go to the next page. A mouse can be a fun pet. It is fun to watch. It is fun to play with a mouse. Okay, here's a little boy, and he has two pets. And do you know what this type of animal is called? If you know, raise your hand. Why don't you tell me? Yes, this animal is called a mouse, right? And so he has one mouse, and then he has another mouse over here. So this little boy has two mice. Okay, so the little boy has two mice. Okay, so mice is the word if you have more than one mouse. You have more than one mouse, you use the word mice. Okay, so now it is your turn to read, okay? All right. So a mouse can be a fun pet. It is fun to watch. It is fun to play with a mouse. Okay, so let's go down to the next page. What a pet mouse needs. So this list is going to tell us what a pet mouse needs to be happy, right? So if you want to care for a pet mouse, these are the things you will have to give the pet mouse, okay? So let's read this together. 1, a safe, clean cage. So a cage looks like this, okay? There we go, there's our cage. So it has to be safe and clean, okay? 2, fresh water. The mouse has to drink water, like, so it has to have fresh water so it doesn't get thirsty, okay? 3, good food. So you can give the mouse good food so it's always full, okay? So it goes nom 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 nom. And it's so bigger and bigger and healthy, okay? 4 is playtime. So you can give a mouse an exercise wheel so it can run, 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 run. And the wheel keeps turning, and the mouse keeps running. And so that makes its muscles strong, and it keeps its body healthy, okay? And number 5 is love, okay? So that means you need to show the mouse that you care about it by giving it these things and letting it out to play and maybe petting it, pet very softly because he's very small, so you have to be careful, but you can pet him, okay? Now let's read this together. What a pet mouse needs. 1, a safe, clean cage. 2, fresh water. 3, good food. 4, play time. 5, love. Okay, so it's okay if you say, I love you to your mouse or your pet dog or your pet cat, because your pet wants to know that you care. So if you say, I love you, then it knows that you care, okay? So let's look at this make connections. What things does Mouse have at his party? What does a real pet mouse need? Well, let's go back to our previous story. Look at Mouse's house. So, Mouse has a table and 2 chairs and pictures. And he has a little place to sleep. Let's go down more. He has food, right? There's food there. He has a safe and clean house. Okay, so that's what he has. So now let's go down to our other mouse down here. So a real pet mouse needs a safe and clean cage. Okay, so that's the same. Fresh water and good food. That's the same, right? The mouse at the party had fresh water and food, playtime. So at the end, the mouse was dancing, right? So he was taking time to play. And love. He had love of all of his friends. So the story about Mouse's house and this nonfiction story about this little mouse shows that they both need the same thing to be happy, okay? So let's go to the next page here. And let's delete this and check out these questions. So this is a focus on science to find out what pets need, okay? So think about different kinds of pets. Choose one pet, okay? So let's think about different types of pets, okay? What are some different kinds of pets? Okay, so if you know a type of pet, raise your hand. Oh, why don't you tell me? Yes, a dog is one type of pet. And why don't you tell me? Yes, a cat is another type of pet. And why don't you tell me? Yes, a mouse is a type of pet. And a bird is a type of pet. And a fish. Okay, so there's a dog, a cat, a mouse, a bird, and a fish. Those are all different kinds of pets, okay? So we are going to pick a pet dog. Okay? So now let's make a chart like this. So, my pet is a dog. Okay, my pet needs good food, a nice bed, exercise. Do you have an idea? Oh, why don't you raise your hand and you can tell me? Why don't you tell me? Yes. Love. And 5, he needs to be cleaned once a month. So this is about my dog, Teacher Jarrett's dog. So my pet is a dog. My pet needs good food, a nice bed, exercise, love, and we can get rid of this. To be cleaned once a month. Okay, so to clean our dog, I take him to the washroom, and then I put water on him and wash, 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 wash. And then he is so clean. Okay, so now let's read all of this together. Okay, so I'm gonna listen and you can read. What are some different kinds of pets? Dog, cat, mouse, bird, fish. Okay, now my pet is a dog. My pet needs good food, a nice bed, exercise, love, to be cleaned once a month. Okay, great. Now, it is your turn to make a chart like this, just like we did, and pick your pet and write down what you think your pet needs, okay? So, you can talk to your mother or your father or your friend or your brother or your sister, okay? But make this chart right now. I will wait. And then you can show me, okay? Okay, so pause the video. You can write this out. And then when you're done, press play and you can show me, okay? I'll wait right here. Oh, you're back. Are you done? Oh, wow, you made such a nice list. Some of you said cat. Some of you have a dog. Some of you have a fish or a bird. And you wrote down all of the needs that they have. That is so good. Very good today. Good job. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next page. Now, this question and this question and this question talks about our reading of the Mouse's Moon Party story, okay? So that was a long time ago, almost 20 minutes ago, okay? So we are going to try to answer the questions without looking back at the story, okay? See if you can remember, all right? So, first question is setting, okay? Setting is a word that describes where the story takes place, okay? So, for example, the setting of my video lessons when I'm talking to you is in my house, okay? So I am in my house talking to you. So the setting is a word that describes where the story takes place. So the question is, where does the party in Mouse's Moon Party take place? So if you know where the party takes place, raise your hand. Wow. Okay, why don't I want you to tell me? Yes, that is so right. The party takes place at Mouse's house, okay? So the party takes place at Mouse's house. So we can say the setting of the story is Mouse's house, okay? So the party takes place at Mouse's house. The setting of the story is Mouse's house, okay? So that's the setting. And now we're going to talk about the characters, okay? So the characters. Who are the characters in this story, okay? Let's put our question here. Where does the party in Mouse's Moon Party take place? Okay, so our next question is, who are the characters in the story? So a character is someone in the story someone in the story. We can just say that. So a character is someone important in the story, okay? So let's go back up and look at the different characters, okay? So the most important character is Mouse, right? So let's go to the next page. And we have cat, okay? And we have rabbit, okay? And we have cow. And does anyone remember the last one, the last character? If you know, you can shout it out with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dog! Yes, the last character is dog, okay? So, now those are the important characters. If we look at the picture, we can see that there's other animals, right? But because we don't hear anything from them, they don't talk, they're just in the picture, they aren't really a character, okay? So like this person, or this animal, or this animal, or this animal, they are not characters because we don't hear from them. We just see them, so we won't think of them as characters, okay? So let's write down who the characters are. So we said Mouse, and mouse and cat and rabbit and cow and dog. Okay, so those are the 5 characters in the story. Now let's go to the next question. Who does Mouse call last? What happens at the end of Mouse's moon party? All right, let's move this over here. Okay, so who does Mouse call last? And we all know this because we just saw it, right? So we'll yell it out together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Dog! Yes, very good. Mouse calls dog last. And what happens at the end of Mouse's moon party? So if you know what happens at the end, raise your hand. Wow, so many people. Why? I want you to tell me. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yes, very good. At the end of Mouse's moon party, all of the animals are dancing together under the moon, right? So, whew, we got through all of those questions. Good job, okay? So now let's review what we said, okay? I'll listen. Setting. Setting is a word that describes where the story takes place. Okay. Where does the party in Mouse's moon party take place? The party takes place at Mouse's house. Okay, good. The setting of the story is Mouse's house. Okay, so we learned how to use setting in a sentence. Now let's talk about characters. Character. A character is someone important in the story. Okay, so who are the characters in the story? Well, it's mouse, cat, rabbit, cow, dog. Good. Okay. Now, who does Mouse call last? Mouse calls dog last. And finally, what happens at the end of Mouse's moon party? At the end of Mouse's moon party, all of the animals are dancing together under the moon. Whew, wow, very good. Good job, everyone. Okay, so now we'll ask 2 more questions and then we'll go on to the next story. So is this sentence a question sentence or a telling sentence? If you think it's a question sentence, raise your hand. Yes, very good. It is a question sentence. And how do we know? Yep, we know because there is a question mark at the end of the sentence, okay? So let's look at this sentence. Is this sentence a question sentence or a telling sentence? If you know, we're going to shout it out together, okay? 1, 2, 3. Telling sentence! And that is correct. It is a telling sentence because it ends with a period. Okay? So now let's get ready to go on to the next page. I will delete all of this. So the next book we will read is called Pet Show. Now, who can tell me what the author's name is? If you know, raise your hand. Oh, I don't, you tell me. Yes, the author is Amy Helfer. Good job. So the next question is, can you tell me who drew the pictures for this story? If you know, raise your hand. I see some people. Why don't you tell me? Yes. The pictures were drawn by Katya Wish. And we know that because we can see the word illustrated by Katya Wish. Okay. Now, let's look at this picture here. Remember, when we read, we need to look at the words, like pet show, but we also need to look at the pictures to understand what is happening in the story, okay? So let's go to the next. Let's look at this first. So we have some different animals, and they all are standing together, and they have ribbons. So that means they won a contest. So maybe they won the pet show, okay? So let's go to the next page. Now, our essential question, so the question we should always be thinking about is what makes a pet special, okay? So, can anyone find the title of this book, of this story, on this page? If you can, raise your hand. Yes! Oh, I want you to tell me what the title is. I'm listening. Yes, the title is Pet Show. It's right here. Pet Show. Okay. And here is a monkey riding a bicycle. Wow. That is a talented monkey. All right, let's go to the next page. Let's have a pet show, says Miss Blum. Who has a pet? What can it do? Okay, so here is Miss Blum. She's the teacher, and she's asking her students, who are animals, if they have any pets and what the pet can do. So, a talent show that lets people show Okay, so a talent show is a show that lets people or pets show off their special talents or skills. So if we look at this picture, we can see this pet is riding a unicycle. So a unicycle means it only has one wheel. Wow, that is so hard. Let's go to the next page and read, and then we'll do 2 pages together. My pet plays the drums, says Glenn. My pet sings, says May. So, which animal is Glenn? Can anyone tell me? If you know, raise your hand. Yes, I want you to tell me. What you can do is you can point at the screen where he is. Yes, Glenn is right here. This is Glenn, and this is his pet who plays the drums. Very good. Okay. Now, who is May? Let's find May. Her pet sings. So, this is not May. This animal doesn't have a pet. So, May must be this animal, because she's thinking about her pet who sings, right? Okay, so let's read this together now. I will listen and you can read. Let's have a pet show, says Miss Blum. Who has a pet? What can it do? Okay, next page. My pet plays the drums, says Glenn, right here. My pet sings, says May, right here. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next page. My pet rides a bike, says Jake. There is Jake, and his pet rides a bicycle, or a bike. My pet dances, says Val. My pet bakes, says Min. So this must be Val, because this pet is dancing. And this must be, we're going to shout it out together on 3. 1, 2, 3. This must be Min. Yes, very good. Okay. So let's go back up here and read. I'll listen. My pet rides a bike, says Jake. My pet dances, says Val. My pet bakes, says Min. Okay, so next page. It is time for the show. The pets come to class. May's pet sings a nice song. Okay, so there is the little bird that's singing, and May is this animal. So there's May right there, and this is her pet singing a song. Glenn's pet plays the drums. It is too loud. Pull the plug. Okay, so let's read this together. It is time for the show. The pets come to class. May's pet sings a nice song. Glenn's pet plays the drums. It is too loud. Pull the plug. Okay, so this pet was bum 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 bum, right? And that's too loud. So they pulled the plug, so then it was quieter, not so loud. Okay. Min's pet made a cake. It looks so good. We want some. Jake's pet rides too fast. Oh no, be careful. All right, let's read this together now. Min's pet made a cake. It looks so good. We want some. Jake's pet rides too fast. Oh no, be careful. Val's pet taps and taps. The class claps and claps. So, can anyone tell me what 2 words rhyme here? There's this word taps, okay? Now, what word rhymes with taps? If you know, raise your hand. Yes, I want you to tell me. Yes, claps and taps rhyme because you have apps at the end, right? Apps and apps. So, Val's pet taps, tap, 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 and taps. The class claps and claps, okay? Can you clap for me? When I count to 3, we'll all clap, okay? 1, 2, 3. Clap! Yeah, very good. Okay. Now the show is over. Which pet wins? Which pet? They all do. Wow. So all of the pets won a prize. See the ribbon? Ribbon, ribbon, ribbon. They all won. Okay? So let's go here and we'll read these two together. Val's pet taps and taps. The class claps and claps. Now the show is over. Which pet wins? They all do. Yes, very good, everyone. Okay, so now we're going to make a detail chart, okay? So let's make a detail chart. Okay. All right, and we'll get our little arrows so we can see. Arrow 1, arrow 2, arrow 3, arrow 4, arrow 5. Okay, so now let's talk about the details. Detail 1. So what is the first thing that happens in the story? If you know, raise your hand. Oh yeah, you tell me. Yes, Miss Blum tells the class they will have a talent show. Miss Blum tells the class they will a pet. Okay. Now detail 2. Do you remember what the next detail was? We can go up and look. So here's Miss Blum saying they will have a talent show. And we have some students saying what their pets can do, right? So we will write detail 2. The students tell Miss Blum what their pets can do for the talent show. Okay. Now, something that's important is that when we make a detail chart, we don't need to say every little detail, okay? So, a little detail would be if we said, Jake tells Miss Blum his pet rides a bike. That's a little detail, okay? Very, very little. But what we want to do for our detail chart is make the big details, okay? So a big detail is when we say the students, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, tell Miss Blum what their pets can do for the talent show, okay? Because if we wrote down every single pet and every single talent, then we would rewrite the whole book. And what we want to do is we want to make a summary. The detail chart should use to make a sum. We do not need to list all of the details. We just need to important details to tell the meaning of the story. Okay, so this is important for you to understand, okay? The detail chart should be used to make a summary. We do not need to list all of the details. We just need to list the important details to tell the meaning of the story, okay? So, now let's go to detail 3. Detail 3. Okay. So now if we want to tell the important details, what is our next detail? So the next detail is that it's time for the show and the pets come to class and show the class their talents, right? Yeah, okay, good. The pets come to the classroom and show the class talents, okay? Okay, so detail 3 is the pets come to the classroom and show the class their talents. And now the last detail is the show is over. Which pet wins? They all do. Okay, so now detail 4. The show is over and all of the pets win. Okay, so now can you understand? We took a story that is 11 pages long and we made it into 1, 2, 3, 4 details, right? So now if your friend asks you about this story, you can tell them the 4 details and they will understand, okay? So this is a good summary. Now, it is your turn to read the details to me, okay? So detail 1. Miss Blum tells the class they will have a pet talent show. Detail 2. The students tell Miss Blum what their pets can do for the talent show. Good. Now detail 3. Detail 3. The pets come to the classroom and show the class their talents. Very good. And now detail 4. The show is over and all of the pets win. Good job. Okay, very good. So now we did the detail chart, okay? So let's look at the next questions. So look at page 5. Who speaks first? Okay, first. Let's go up to page 5. Okay, so on page 5, right here. Who speaks first? So it says, my pet dances, says Val. My pet bakes, says Min. Let me check. Okay. Look at Okay, so who speaks first? Well, if we look, this is the top sentence. So this person is first. So then we can say that who speaks first. If you know, raise your hand. Oh, I want you to tell me who speaks first. I'll listen. Yes, Val speaks first. All right, let's write that down. Okay, now next question. Look at page 10. What happens after Val's pet? Now, I think that you can remember this, right? So, what happens after Val's pet taps and taps? Do you know? If you know, raise your hand. I think you know. Remember? First, the pet taps and taps. And then the classroom, yes, claps and claps. Very good. The classroom claps and claps. Let's go up to that page and check. Okay, so Val's pet taps and taps. The class claps and claps, just like we said. What we'll do is we will put an exclamation mark on the end because that is so exciting. Now, the last question. Are the students in the story Pet Show real or make believe? How do you know? Okay, so the question is, are the students in Pet Show, which is the story we just read, real, like you or me, we're real, you can touch us, or is it make-believe? Is it just a drawing? What do you think? If you know, raise your hand. Oh, I want you to tell me. Yes? Yes, the students are make-believe. Okay, very good. The students are make-believe. And how do you know? Well, we know the students are make-believe because we know the students are make-believe because they are talking animals, right? So we know the students are make-believe because they are talking animals, right? So animals can't talk, and animals can't go to school, right? And so that's how we know they're make-believe, all right? So now it's your turn to read. I'll listen. We'll read the question and the answer. So look at page 5. Who speaks first? Val speaks first. Look at page 10. What happens after Val's pet taps and taps? The class claps and claps. Good. Are the students in Pet Show real or make-believe? How do you know? The students are make-believe. We know the students are make-believe because they are talking animals. Okay, very good, everyone. Now, let's go down to the next page, and we're going to read a nonfiction story, okay? Okay, so we are going to erase that, and erase our detail chart. Okay, so compare texts. Read to find out about a pet llama. Okay, so here's a llama, and here's a little boy, and here's a woman and another woman, okay? So, what is the title of this book? If you know the title, raise your hand. Ooh, yes, so many people. I want you to tell me. I'm listening. Yes, the title of the story is Love That Llama. Right there, there's the llama. All right, let's go to the next page. Okay, look at the llamas. Llamas are smart and gentle pets. They are a little shy. A llama likes to have friends. 2 llamas are even better than 1. Okay, so here's a llama, here's a little girl, and then here's another llama right here, okay? So now it's your turn to read, okay? So look at the llamas. Llamas are smart and gentle pets. They are a little shy. A llama likes to have friends. 2 llamas are even better than 1. Okay, very good. Now, if we look here, we say 1 llama, right? And we say 2 llamas, right? So now, do you remember when we were talking about mouse? 1 mouse and 2. If you know, raise your hand. You can tell me. Yes, 2 mice. Okay, so for llamas, it's 1 llama, 2 llamas. You just add an S. But if you're talking about a mouse, it's 1 mouse and 2 mice. So you cannot just add an S to the end of mouse to make 2. You need to change the word to say mice. Okay, so let's do one more. 1 dog, 2, yes, 2 dogs. Okay, so the mouse is a special word. When we have more than 1, if we have 2 or 3 or 4, we have to be very careful that we change the word to mice, okay? So let's go to the next page. What a pet llama needs. Okay, so 1 is fresh water. 2, a lot of food. 3, a lot of land. 4, a roof for shelter, a roof. And 5, haircuts. So you need to take their hair and cut, and take their hair and cut, and take their hair and cut. Okay? So let's read this together. What a pet llama needs. 1, fresh water. 2, a lot of food. 3, a lot of land. So that's so they can walk around a lot. Walk around a lot, okay? 4, a roof for shelter. And 5, haircuts. So you have to cut their hair. So that is very good. So how are pet llamas different from the animals in Pet Show? So if we look here, the llamas can't sing and they can't dance and they don't have any pets, but they have some friends, right? So if we look up here, so these animals can talk and they have pets and they go to school and they have friends, right? See, they're all friends. So let's write down what is different. How are llamas So how are pet llamas different from the animals in Pet Show? Okay. Pet llamas cannot talk. Pet llamas do not pets. Pet do not go to school. Okay. So, how are pet llamas, how are pet llamas different from the animals in the story Pet Show? So let's read all these together. Pet llamas cannot talk. Good. Pet llamas do not have pets. Good, because a llama is the pet. Pet llamas do not go to school. Okay. Pet llamas like to live in the field. See, the big field. They don't like to go to school. Okay. But you should go to school. You are not a llama. You're a person. So now it is your turn to do this lesson, okay? So like we did before, choose a pet you have or you would like to have. Draw a chart like this one. Fill in the chart, list what your pet needs, and then compare the needs of your pet with the needs of a classmate's pet. Or you can compare the needs to your mother's pet or what your brother or your sister want for a pet, okay? So we won't do this together now, but you can do it right now, and then you can show me, okay? So pause the computer, pause the video, and you can do this work, and then you can show me when you're done, okay? So I am going to wait. You can hit pause.